Good evening. Welcome to the Pearl Report. I'm Diana Lin. Summertime is playtime for kids and young people. How they play, though, can be an issue. As Chris Lincoln reports, more of them are spending an increasing amount of time on electronic devices, courting internet addiction.
One of Hong Kong's biggest summer events was the Esports and Music Festival. The Hong Kong government promotes a burgeoning industry that, by its nature, encourages would-be sports athletes to put a lot into internet gaming. While kids might dream of making a career out of doing something they love, it's an unsettling thought for some parents.
I spend more time observing.
That includes Andrew, who sent his 16-year-old game-loving son to boarding school in Australia, then heard about his new career direction 6 months later.
One day he told me that he wanted to be a professional gamer. Then I start realizing, hey, this is not so simple as I think it is. That brings to my attention that perhaps he's really gaming too much then. I rejected the idea, of course. I said, no, you cannot be a professional gamer. I'm not supportive with that.
The son was back in Hong Kong after a year and a half. He'd been asked to leave the boarding school.
I think he turned against the school. Like some courses he should not have taken, but he insists doing it, and that they don't think he will pass.
Andrew put his now 20-year-old son to work in his office, doing data entry and other odd jobs.
How does he do with work tasks?
He's doing overall okay, well on it. He's interested, like he's not happy when he makes mistake.
But he still uses his spare time for gaming.
If you take him out for a movie in exchange for his gaming time, he would not accept. He would decline most of the time.
So it seems like he's still pretty focused on that.
True.
Do you worry about that?
Extremely worried.
The son's choice of game used to be League of Legends. Andrew thinks his son likes to play because there is a sense of achievement.
If you fail, then you can always retry. And then there's always have some reinforcement for the people who's playing the game.
His son's newer and now preferred game is called Overwatch. This game at least allows players to pause the action.
Like you could stop playing half an hour or something like this.
Would you say that he thinks that there's a problem?
I would think so. I think he thinks it's a problem.
Why do you think that he thinks it's a problem?
Because if it's not, he would not be here. And he's always here on time. I mean, unlike in school, he could skip class or at work, he could be late.
Here is the Tonghua Group of Hospitals Addiction Treatment Center in Wan Chai. The family has been coming 8 months for counseling.
When you're in the session, it's not that easy. Like you talk about your stuff and to face it.
What is it that triggers most parents to try to get help for their kids?
I think it's when they see their kids are not going to school, refusing going to school.
Elda Chan estimates more than 75% of the people who come to the center for help are males.
For online shopping, the social networking, we actually see more females.
On Kowloon side, the Hong Kong Christian Service has for a dozen years been running a program for people with internet use problems out of a service center in Sham Shui Po.
Sometimes I would switch off the light at night in my room to play on my computer. I had problems with my eyes. For example, in the morning, my eyes would be very dry. I was tired the whole day.
Last October, 20-year-old David found himself playing games all night.
From 1 to 2 a.m. to 9 the next morning, in that period, I didn't sleep until very late. The next day, I woke up at 3 or 4 p.m. At the time, I was supposed to be attending university, but because I had problems with relationships and adapting to university life, I started to reduce the amount of time I attended school. My attention turned to online games.
The game he prefers is called Legend of the Three Kingdoms.
Because to play this game, you need strategy. You might have to create a new identity or lie to others.
David couldn't fool himself. His real life was going nowhere.
This addiction to online gaming continued for a month. I developed health and mental problems. I found I couldn't go on like that, just video gaming, caring about nothing else.
His family worried.
The main concern is about my studies, whether this would cause me to forsake my studies. They worry most about my health, because my health is not as good as it was.
David ended up dropping out of school and looking for help.
At first, I called this place after seeing online some organizations helping to overcome internet addiction. I called various organizations, but this one has follow-up action, so I decided to come here.
The trend is there are more girl kids. There is also a trend for more cases for early adult.
Joe Tang says he notices people take refuge in the internet when other parts of their life suffer.
If they have poor family relationship and low self-esteem, no friends, no other activities, I can tell you it is not easy.
Returning to a balanced life takes time. The center is a meeting place for youths who might not have many friends.
Provide opportunity for them to practice the social skill, for them to develop other hobbies. They will play board games, they will play cooking.
It's been 10 months. Initially, I was introverted and unwilling to connect with many people or try new things. But since coming here, you are accepted and it makes you relax and try different things and meet different people.
David will return to school in September, starting an associate degree program at Baptist Hughes College of International Education. Some of the clients at this center have been coming here for years as part of a support network.
The friends in here I think is the best friend I know.
And we are sharing the dinners and share experience on the life, a daily life.
Just distract my focus on the computer. Just like here we can have more hobbies.
There is no set target to quit the internet or even reduce use to any fixed number of hours per day.
If they can regain the balance of their social life, of their school life, their friends, their parent relationship, if they can regain all the balance, no matter how many hours they pay, I don't think it is significant.
In early August, the Department of Health released survey findings showing parents of primary school students are much more concerned now than they were 3 years ago about how their kids use the internet or electronic screens. The survey size was not big. About 80 parents responded. In 2014, some 26% of parents said their kids were spending too much time in front of screens and it was having an effect on their daily life. This year, the figure was more than doubled to 62.5%. 3 years ago, about 44% of parents surveyed said they'd quarreled with their kids over their screen time. In 2017, that number is up to 77.5%. About 475 primary school-age children responded to questions. About 53% said this year they argue with their parents about the internet, a 12% increase from 2014. And primary kids self-report increases across a number of other concern areas. More of them this year say they have lost sleep because of time spent in front of screens. And they've suffered academically, while shunning outdoor activities.
If those kids in Hong Kong have been exposed to digital device too early, for example, kindergarten age, without any supervision and then overuse, when they enter into the primary school, there would be quite obvious detrimental effect affecting their academic performance in both mathematics and Chinese, affecting their behaviors in terms of their emotional competence, their peer relationship, as well as their conduct control.
Ip says overexposed kids are at a greater risk of developing ADHD. For kids 3 to 6,
around 1 hour per day, together with the parents, basically on those learning activities would already be good enough.
2 hours a day for kids in primary school. About 6 weeks before these figures were released, another survey came out. 2,000 students, mainly primary 4 to 6, were asked about gaming. The survey results suggest about 10% of students might be addicted or show signs in their gaming behaviors that they are at risk of being addicted. Risk factors include wanting to continue playing after finishing and thinking about video games when not playing.
If we have children, 5% they are having problems, 5% at risk. I think it is quite similar to the 10% adults that they are having problems. And that's why we think that more things should be done on those who are at risk, because they are having a high probability of having problematic behaviors in the future, though not now. If they have exposure to video games that are so engaging with all those vivid images, and they may easily get bored when they are asked to read a textbook.
There's further concern about exposure to violent games. In the US, there have been long-term studies.
They found quite a consistent relationship between the exposure to violent video games and the Aggression Act, and they find that these people will tend to be more easily aroused, and also they have more problematic behavior, always engaged in fist fights.
When we come back,
if the user focus or spend too much time on the phone with the screen on, then the Genie will change a little bit.
New friendly reminders on smartphone usage. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the Pearl Report. Hong Kong youths are following a world trend in spending more time online. It's to the point of addiction for some. Parents are advised the best way to combat that is to spend more time with their kids and not to try to remove the internet from the lives of their children.
Some parents only find out about the way their kids are using electronic devices once a problem has developed. A parents group meets at the Hong Kong Christian Service Centre in Sham Shui Po to learn more about kids and the internet.
The first thing the center reminded us was not to unplug the computer. Unplugging would affect your relationship with your child. The center also holds talks to let parents know why our kids are addicted to the internet.
Maybe on the other side of the internet, there's someone that can speak the same language with them, so they will feel safe. That's what the parents don't understand.
And the parents discussed esports when the recent festival was held at the Hong Kong Coliseum.
At the same time, at the same day, the health department, they come up, they announce the small kids, they use the internet, playing the games, too much time. So the parents stay in this room, all are feeling horrible. One is to concern about the use of the time of the kids to playing the games and the use of the internet. But at the same time, the government, they announced, they must push the esports to make bigger and bigger, more and more.
Tim had so much trouble dealing with family life that for about 3 years, from age 12, he spent about half of each week living in a group home. And when he returned to the family home, he was gaming.
I'm just sitting the computer and start to playing all day, just like that. I don't know why. Yeah.
He preferred games involving strategy, like World of Tanks. Or Alliance of Valiant Arms, games with a military flavor.
More using the brain to think, how to work, how to get to win, but enjoy the game.
Tim is now 17. He suffered emotional problems in Form 4 and missed a month of school.
I don't know what I'm doing, just playing and sleeping, just like a young baby. I want to get a real boy, you know?
You want to grow up?
Yeah.
People may not notice the problem develop until a very late stage. So including the child is not going to school, including there are severe conflicts between the child and the parents, both verbal conflicts as well as physical conflicts. Vicious cycle.
Things shifted for Tim when he took his social worker's advice and went to the Tonghua Center to get help for gaming.
He gave me the suggestion. I said that yes, it is a good suggestion. I want to do this.
There was family pressure too, and not enough sleep.
The family said that why you studying is so bad, and then more pressure, just like a snowball running down.
He left secondary school to enroll in a course at the Vocational Training Institute.
I start not playing too much because I found my interest to study about engineers, power supplies like this. I forget to gaming, just playing the game. I just very focused to do my work.
Now, is the relationship with your family better?
Yeah, better.
Were your friends playing with my profile? Ah!
Father Jay and son Jacob, together, gaming.
Ah, get up.
I can't fly.
Well, that's not good. I game with my child. It creates a shared experience with us, a common bond that we can talk about. And Yuta often jokes that she doesn't understand the language we're talking. Don't get it yet.
I got him.
Some of my best memories growing up were playing video games with my cousins and my friends. Come on. Uh-oh.
Video gaming father Jay is a teacher at Renaissance College in Ma'anshan.
At our school, we're one-to-one. There is one device for every student. So all the children at our school will either have an iPad or they'll have a laptop. I'm the technology integration coach, so that I help teachers integrate technology meaningfully into their classroom. We run parent workshops on how living in a technology-filled world, helping parents understand the benefits and the pitfalls of having technology in their house and ensuring that their children live a balanced life.
In dog behavior training.
9-year-old Jacob and his 8-year-old sister Sophia have rules to follow.
In the morning before they go to school, there's no devices allowed. Also, they can use the devices after dinner. They finish all the chores, stuff like that, and then they can use a little bit.
Good. Now I need a swivel cannon. You can set a timer. You can do that. Oh, there's so many coins.
Why would you set a timer?
Well, I could set a timer so I don't be too long. And if I don't set a timer, always my dad and mom can remind me. Like to have a break, they normally do that. Sometimes I want to keep going, sometimes I don't. Because I feel like my eyes, I need to look far away, Dad and Mom says. I need to look far away for like a minute. You can feed the nails.
As best we can, we try to raise children who are well informed about how to live a balanced life.
What kind of things do you like to do that don't involve the internet?
I like doing cooking, drawing, creating.
Do the kids have smartphones?
Sophia just got hers yesterday.
So yes, they do.
An old hand-me-down. They do.
Then I need to go down on my knees like this.
I think we're both pleasantly surprised at his lack of reliance on it. We have a family account, so if they want to purchase an app or get an app, even free apps, it has to go through me.
Polly Yu is working on an app that sends signals to users telling them they have been on their smartphone too long. Those messages are delivered by a character that becomes part of the phone's wallpaper, designed to be friendly and appealing.
We don't want users to spend too much time on the phone, but how much is too much is really depends on individual user. So we personalized the Genie to every individual user. Right now, most of the users are cases referred by a Dongra group of hospitals.
Too long on the smartphone and the Genie starts getting sick. The Genie's health starts to improve once the user leaves the phone alone.
They can actually put down their phone for just a while, just 5 minutes, and then they come back. Actually, the Genie will already recover a little bit. You might say the Genie is a reflection, is a mirror for the user. If the Genie gets sick, actually it's not so good to the user in terms of the physical health.
If the user ignores the Genie, its behavior becomes unpredictable.
Some user might become used to the Genie's behavior. So we surprise them by something like the Genies at certain point, say for example, they might just leave. Human psychology definitely is one important underpinning for us to design all this.
There are 5 different character designs. Polly Yu is following up with users.
We interview every case regularly to see some of the qualitative feedback.
About a quarter of the users put down the phone when the Genie signals them, but they still see it as an app.
Another 1/4 of them start to really generate some empathy towards the Genie.
And some users begin to connect an absent Genie to their own behavior.
1/4 of them really take a perspective from the Genie and looking back on themselves. Sometimes they miss the Genie, so they reflect on themselves. Definitely this is something probably is my fault.
The app is targeted at people in secondary school and up into their 20s. It can be put on silent mode.
We don't want the user to get away from the Genie for too long, because at the end, the Genie still works as a reminder. We hope users spend some time really thinking about their behavior, thinking about what are the choices for them.
Well, thank you for watching our show. It will be re-aired on Monday, Tuesday and Saturday, as well as online and on mobile apps. Until next time, from the Pearl Report team, good night, good luck and good health.